If you watch the news, you've probably heard about the refugee crisis in Europe. Hundreds of thousands of asylum seekers from the Middle East and Africa are flooding across the borders. As of July, European countries had received over 437,000 asylum applications for the year. In 2014, just over 840,000 applications were received. So why is this happening? Where are these migrants coming from? Why are there so many of them? The corporate media and the political establishment on both the left and the right will answer those questions with a combination of half-truths and outright lies. This shouldn't be surprising. It's in their interest to cover up the role they played in creating the crisis. Let's take a look at the top 7 countries of origin for these refugees: Syria, Afghanistan, Kosovo, Eritrea, Serbia, Pakistan, and Iraq. A lot of attention is being put on Syria because that's where the largest numbers are coming from. Hundreds of thousands are fleeing a conflict that has raged since 2011, and many are using this to push for an escalation of military force by the West. Because obviously if we bomb the heck out of the place, everything will go back to normal. Of course, it sounds perfectly rational to take down ISIS. These guys are nasty. But upon closer inspection, we find that the West is much more focused on removing President Assad from power. That might strike you as absurd, since the Syrian government is one of the last remaining forces preventing ISIS from completely taking over the region, but it makes much more sense once you see how ISIS rose to power in the first place. Who funded them? Who armed them? Well, they don't like to talk about that, do they? Since at least 2011, the US and its allies have been backing rebel groups in Syria. The goal, of course, being regime change. This escalated right after the US and NATO toppled Libya. There's a reason for that. The weapons from Gaddafi's armories were shipped through Turkey into Syria and distributed to combatants. Even at the time, it was clear that the majority of these weapons were ending up in the hands of jihadists. The official narrative is that these rebels were freedom fighters, and that this was an organic uprising, an extension of the Arab Spring. The media and the political establishment in both the United States and Europe stuck to this story until it became impossible to hide the atrocities being committed by these so-called freedom fighters. A Department of Defense document from 2012 showed that the US government was fully aware of the fact that these fighters were connected to AQI, or Al-Qaeda in Iraq. That was ISIS before they rebranded. The document also shows that the US knew that the fighters they were supporting intended to form a caliphate. Not only did they know it was happening, they viewed it as a good thing. In fact, in 2012, the CFR released an article openly stating that, quote, "In short, the FSA needs Al-Qaeda now." Publicly, Washington continued to claim that the West was only assisting the moderate rebels, the Free Syrian Army in particular. However, the FSA was very open about the fact that they regularly conducted joint operations with al-Nusra, and al-Nusra had direct alliances with ISIS. Cut it, the US and its allies brought ISIS to power, and in doing so, they created a flood of refugees. And let's not forget how this all started. Who toppled Iraq and Afghanistan, creating a power vacuum, unleashing decades of chaos and destruction, and creating breeding grounds for extremists? It's no accident that these are among the top countries of origin for refugees. While it might be convenient for Europeans to pin the blame entirely on the US, the reality of the matter is that European leaders have not only enabled Washington by refusing to call them out, but they have also played an active and direct role in the aggression. The blood is on their hands too, so it's not in their interest to tell you the truth. These factual omissions play right into the hands of a right-wing backlash, which frames this debate as simply an immigration issue and plays off the public's distrust of Muslims. Those who actually created the mess are perfectly happy to let the victims become scapegoats. This is a classical case of problem, reaction, solution. You're being tricked. You're being herded towards more war, more chaos, more suffering, which ironically will just create more refugees. If you want people to hear this message, like it, share it, download it, and spread it. Believe it or not, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Want to see how deep the rabbit hole goes? Subscribe to Storm Clouds Gathering on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and you can sign up for email notifications of new releases on our website stormcloudsgathering.com.